Welcome to Who Let the Moms Out?
Woof, 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 woof.
Hi, if you're new here, I am Marae, and this is,
Hello. I don't know why I sang
and
my name then.
we're feeling musical today. It's Monday. We normally record on Tuesdays when our headspace is much better. But we've been sort of busy for the past few weeks, and it's Monday, and it's probably the best thing we can do to start our week by having this recording because I feel like it brings a level of rawness that this podcast can definitely use, even though it's already pretty raw. So if you're brand new here, I wanted to tell you that we are a podcast where we have real conversations about all things motherhood. Today, we're starting a new segment, a new type of podcast, a new series that we hope to do at least once a month, and it's called the Mom Catch Up. So what we want to do is we want to come here once a month and sort of catch up and see how we're doing, because we realized recently that even though we talk all the time, we literally talk every single day, it sometimes feels like it's been ages since we talked. And I think it's because as moms, our identity really starts becoming the identity of all the things that we're doing in our lives and all the people that we're taking care of, and really not so much about ourselves. So with this episode, we want to start just a little habit of checking in once a month and asking ourselves, like, where did you win this week, and where did you feel like you were losing, or what was difficult and what was not difficult, you know? So I'm going to ask you first, what was awesome about this week? What moment made you feel like, wow, like I'm thriving, like I'm finally doing something awesome, or like I love this? Like, what was awesome this week? Last week, not this one that just started today.
Well, last week that I just went on the, weekend away, which I felt there was the first time I actually went and did something on my own that was actually fun. And I thought about it, I planned it, I think, and I didn't feel guilty about it, which was
That's a massive win. That's a
yeah, I
massive win.
know. That was very strange feeling as well. I'm not gonna lie. It was very
So
weird.
you actually went the whole weekend and there was no guilt.
Yeah, no. And I was
That's
but I
amazing.
was also super excited to, I still wanted to be home and I missed being home, but I didn't feel guilty for
Yeah, one thing
actually
does not negate the
leaving.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And I
still love
feel it
your
was
family.
because that was the thing that as well, like, and then like you kind of started spiraling sometimes, and then you just like when you don't feel guilty, you're like, it's because I don't love them, and now I left the thing, and I don't love them, and I don't feel guilty.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why? What's wrong with me? Why, why am I
Exactly.
feeling this way?
But
Is
I
this
didn't go
normal?
there. I didn't go there either
Good, good.
because I was missing them. So I was like, I know I miss them, but I'm also, enjoying being here. It's a really nice just girls weekend, and not many of them had kids, so it was also I didn't have to speak about Flynn as much, so it was also nice. It was not like as a constant reminder, the
Right. It
kids
wasn't
and
like a
whatnot.
mom thing. It was a Paula thing. You got to just be you without having to really be
Yeah.
the secondary character.
Yeah,
That's
someone actually
awesome.
said that I was really fun.
Oh, look at you. Not just good at bagging lunch or, good at
No, I was
taming the
fun. I
toddler,
had
but
like
actually
five
fun.
Prosecco's by that point.
Hey,
I had
listen,
5%.
whatever you gotta do.
But that was fun.
That's really awesome.
Tell
I'm
me
really
yours.
happy for you.
No, thank you.
I think this last week, you know, um, this last week I accomplished a lot of things, a lot of like projects. Like I started a few things that I have been wanting to start for a long time, and I made some decisions and like some moves that are like massive that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. And I organized myself and I didn't let myself get overwhelmed with it. So like normally, like it felt like a win for two reasons. Like normally speaking, I tend to sabotage myself by leaving things for the last minute. And then I'm like, and I
Yeah.
actually scheduled things for this week, knowing that I was going to come back from our trip, which I came back the week before, and I was going to jump into a lot of new things. And I scheduled them in a way that I knew was going to be plenty of time. But normally that's not enough. I still get myself all neurotic about it. And
Sure.
I actually managed to accomplish and show up and be there for my family, for myself a little bit, not as much, but mostly for my family and for my business and for a lot of things without the stress. So like I actually managed to like organize things and not let myself get in a frenzy. And I made a big life decision about moving this last week. And like every time I decide that I'm gonna move or I'm gonna take a trip or something like that takes precedence in a way that everything else falls to the ground. And I didn't. I'm trying this new thing that my sister taught me, to where like if you're trying to make a decision and it feels overwhelming and anxious, like you're not ready to make the decision. If you don't have the
Yeah.
answer, you're not ready to make the decision. So I
Yeah.
kind of have been leaning on that to like mitigate anxiety and stress around things. And I'm just like, the whole point of this lifestyle that I'm creating is to enjoy it. It has to be fun.
Yeah.
If it's not fun, if I'm not flowing, then, which is my word of the year, so I'm trying to anchor back on my word of the year. I love having a word of the year, by the way, and actually have it be useful throughout. Because I was like, this past week, I really almost got anxious about like, okay, we're moving. What's going on? Like, we're leaving Hawaii. I thought we were going to be here for the next 2 years. Like, you know? And then I just allowed myself to no, I'm not gonna make decisions until I'm ready. Like I'm not feeling like I can make a decision right now. So obviously I'm not ready. I'm gonna sit on it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna let this be stressful. Like I prep for this, I prepare for this. I literally have been working years for this moment. I'm gonna show up and be present and enjoy it. And I don't have to like it doesn't have to be stressful for it to be deserving of a win. And I'm not winning because I'm working hard. I'm winning because I've worked all these years to get here. So now I get to enjoy it and it gets to flow. I don't have to be stressed about it. And I actually allowed myself to enjoy a work week with a lot of changes, a lot of moving pieces, but not, like obviously there's stress, but good stress. Like I didn't allow myself to
Yeah.
you know, fall into a pit of like guilt and
Just the,
overwhelm
her
and
spiral
fear.
and
And yeah,
yeah.
I, I was in flow, and that actually felt like a massive win for me. Um, yeah, I'm really winning. This past week, I feel like
Oh,
I won.
6 months you flew. You flew.
I flowed,
That doesn't
flowed,
work. You
flow.
flowed. Flow.
I've been flowing.
Yes, let's go with that one. You've been flowing,
Yes.
which is good. That's good. Your word of the year is working, and it's finally enlightened you, especially in this. Like that was a big one. That's moving is a big one, especially with kids. Like it takes
Yes.
on everyone. It's not just like
Yeah,
it's a big toll. So like it's a big win to have it to
absolutely.
just like let it go, let it
Oh, please. I am so
go.
tired of Frozen. We've been having arguments with my daughter because she doesn't think her name is, so she keeps calling her Let It Go. So it's Let It Go and Anna. And I'm just like, well, her name is Elsa. She's like, no, let it go. And I'm like, interesting how you're not willing to let that go to learn her real name, but okay. But it's just like
Please
this
let it
thing.
go.
Yeah, because she always like, oh, play Let It Go. And I'm like, well, the movie's called Frozen. And she's like, oh, Let It Go and Anna. And I'm like, well, Elsa and Anna. Do you like Elsa or Anna? And she's like, I like Let It Go. And I'm like, that's not okay. She's not letting that
She's
one go.
already
So
told
we're
you
just
four
gonna move
times.
on.
She's
Yeah,
already told you 4 times. Come on,
I know.
girl.
Like, I don't know why I can't just let it go.
You just let it go.
All right. What was difficult this past week?
Okay, well, difficult this past week was literally yesterday, which is the only one I can remember. That's why it's the one that's fresh in my memory. But it's yesterday I was like just on fumes with everyone because like my flight. So yeah, so I was meant to fly at 12. So my journey was meant to start 12:30 in the afternoon. Um, and I was meant to arrive at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. So like it would be the first flight and then wait for 3 hours, then the next flight. They changed my flight to 9 a.m. So I had to leave really early. So I was from in London from 10 to 6 p.m. to waiting, like the next flight was at 6 p.m. Luckily, I have a friend that lives nearby, so I went to visit her. So that was a nice refresher. But like at Jersey Airport, they forced me to put I had only a backpack, which is my backpack I take everywhere, always goes underneath the seat because it fits every time, never been checked. They decided to check and she asked me to put it inside of the thing, which I did, even though I struggled a little bit because it was a little bit fuller than it was meant to be. But it's fine. It still goes underneath the seat and it still fits and it fitted inside. She made me take stuff in from the inside of the bag. Even though it fit. I know it has to fit comfortably. I was like, bitch, excuse me?
Oh my
Has to what?
God.
it goes underneath the
She
seat.
woke up and chose
You have to
silence.
take her out. You have to take it out. You have to take like a jumper out. You, and I was like, what? And then literally, I didn't do anything. Turned around, and I was like, is that good? Oh yeah, it's fine. I was like, you're a little bit of an idiot, aren't you? And I just walked off.
Oh, that's annoying. That could be so overwhelming, especially at the
And then they
airport.
did the same
At least
thing.
you were
They
alone.
did the exact. They did exactly the same thing in London. And I said, I'm not doing it. I said, I'm not putting this in. I'm not putting it in. I this is going underneath the seat. If you want, you can walk with me. And then he goes, oh, then you're not going to be late. You're not going to board. And I was like, no, come and stop me then. Nobody stopped me. But then, like, by the time I got to France, then it was the passport control. And I was literally just asking the woman, like, I have the European passport. You're ushering all of the UK to one side. I mean, I was just trying to be going to the right place. She just goes, you're going to that one. Everybody, the same one. Oh my God, that was it. I was like, okay, I'm going to punch someone. This is it. This is it. I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight you all. And then today I got my period.
I was waiting
And I
for
was like,
this.
here we go. I
Wow.
get it.
No, but honestly, that sounds very trying. I would have been, like I honestly like it's funny because when we came from Japan, I almost started crying. Like the people, especially like it's just when you go to a country where people are that kind, it stands out, especially in busy places like train stations and airports and stuff like that. And they are like our entire experience. Like it's so funny because I have this vivid memory of one of the hotels we checked in at where the guy was telling us, I forget what he was telling me that they didn't have available or wasn't possible or something. And they just tell you in such a direct but kind way that you literally can't even get mad. Like he was like, I'm so sorry, but that's not available. We don't have it. However, you still have the same room. And it's just like, I've never been told no so politely. Like I'm like, because like
I don't even know what to
yeah, like American politeness or like Western politeness that I am familiar with, it's like people will try to compensate, like, oh, I'm so sorry, but like, or whatever. But like the Japanese are very like sort of like straight to the point. They're not trying to like sugarcoat it. They're not making you believe or giving you any hope that it's gonna work when it's not gonna work. They're gonna tell you straight up no, but they're just so kind about it that you can't get mad. It's like, what do you mean I have to pay for this? But you're so sweet, I can't even argue. Like you're okay, okay.
I'll
It's
pay
like
for it. I'll pay
it's
for it. I'll
wild.
pay for it. Okay.
So like after dealing with like the people at the airport, how kind they were, and then I arrived in Oahu, which is just the big city here in Hawaii, and it was just the emoji of the trash, like as soon as I'm coming into like customs, this lady who's like manning the lines or whatever, she's like, come on, you have a US passport, it's over here. Because I was like literally standing between the sign because I was trying to see which way to go. And like I'm holding a child that's screaming. Roger's holding like three bags and the other kid. And, and we're clearly like, in disarray with like a time change coming off of a long ass with two kids, one crying. And she's like, come on, you have a US passport that way. And I was like, I literally, I stood, I couldn't even talk. I almost started crying. I was like, oh, can I just go back? Can I just walk back into that plane and just go back to Japan, please, with the nice
Send me
people?
back.
This
Send me
trash,
back. This is a mistake.
please. Oh my God, it was such a rude awakening. Like, wow, so rude. The good news is that here on my island where I live, like people are way kinder. When we arrived here, I was like, oh, I have missed
Oh,
Hawaii.
my
But
people. Be my
yes,
people.
listen, all those few hours in Oahu airport, like in the Honolulu airport, I was just like, oh wow. What the fuck are we
This
doing
is really
here?
bad,
Why am
but
I
every time you
back?
say Honolulu, it makes me laugh.
It's funny because if you come to Hawaii from anywhere in the United States, you will automatically feel they're so nice and pleasant, especially at the airport. Like, the aloha spirit. They have other speakers talking about it and they talk in Hawaiian and you feel like it's amazing. But for some reason, well, first of all, I probably just met somebody that was not in a good mood or was having a rough morning because it was really
Yeah.
early. But also like in contrast to what I had just left. Like I went to buy duty free stuff in the middle of a mall, in the middle of a city, to then take all day with me to the airport into the plane. And this lady was asking me profusely if everything I was buying, because it was at a supermarket, was duty free. And she was so kind about it that I didn't know why she was asking. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take it all on the plane. I'm gonna take it all on the plane. And she was asking me about the juices and the milk that I was buying, like little ones for Alaska. And I was buying it for her to sort of consume before the flight and on the flight because I didn't get to order meals in the flight. And but I was just telling her yes because I was like, yeah, fine. If I can have it here, I'll just take it on the flight. Yes, fine. It's duty free. And she was asking me because she bagged the cold stuff, like two juices and the milk, in a separate bag that's sealed. I mean, all of it is sealed because it's duty free.
Yeah, yeah,
And you're not meant to open. I learned later, so we didn't open it until the plane. But she bagged it in a plastic bag with like takeaway frozen ice little thing packets. So to keep it cold, and she packed the rest in a different bag. So like she left the the bringing up area to go to an office to find these ice packs to pack in a different bag so she could pack
oh,
Alaska. And
that's
I
so
was
sweet.
like here in the States, I'd be like, I have a line. Sorry, like, are you sure you're gonna drink this? Because this is gonna probably perish by the time you get on the plane, or something like that. And this lady's like I just couldn't, I was like, you're giving me free
Can
ice
I take
packs.
you home?
Yeah, that's how I felt about every person I met in Japan. I was like, can you just come with me, please? Like,
Can we be friends?
and we've turned this episode into a Japan story instead of what it was about. But so
I mean, it
let
kind of
us.
kind of worked out. It kind of worked out in a way. You she shared like your best and worst moments in Japan.
Yeah, it's true. It's sort of
Wait, there
the
wasn't
theme of
even
the
worse. Yeah, the
episode.
worst moment was when you came back. So,
Yeah, the
here you
worst
go.
moment was the rude lady at the customs in Honolulu.
So, okay,
Um,
but let's keep it up to date and do it this week. What was your worst moment of this week?
yes. My worst moment, honestly,
That's it.
my worst moment of this week has been dealing with my toddler. Um, this is a horrible, very raw, honest admission, but it's been really challenging. She has a lot of energy all of a sudden, and I think she's obviously like is feeling the transition of the different sibling being here, a new sibling being here. And so there's a lot of like just begging for attention, a lot of show off, a lot of intensity. And it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, and I'm not used to it. So I'm also coping with it. And so there's been a lot of guilt
Learning
around that,
curving.
a lot of learning curve and a lot of guilt around the learning curve because I feel like I should be able to regulate better, do better, but the reality is that it's very triggering, it's very challenging, and it's very new and I'm learning. And so I have to
Yeah,
constantly
you had
remind
a very,
myself,
very, very quiet child. You did.
right. And so now it's like a really big learning curve with another toddler who
Bless
is
you. Yeah.
not
Oh, yeah.
quiet,
Yeah.
right? And so who's very demanding. Because let me tell you, Atlas is wow. She is super chill, but don't mess with her milk. Like,
Don't mess with my
wow.
supply.
No, listen, she is not playing. She's not playing at all. And it's serious. Like, she is not here to shit with you. Like, I've never, like, this baby is just like
I'm
the
actually
way
quite excited to
to
start
meet her.
eating solids. I feel like, well, of course, but seeing her eat food, I think is going to be like the biggest pleasure, like
It's crazy.
when baby like,
She's already, so Alaska started being interested in foods at 4 months old. At 4 months old, I knew at 6 months I was going to introduce foods because she was like,
yeah,
trying to grab this stuff.
yeah.
Atlas is insane. Atlas is already, she's 2 months old. She's already, like, she's turning 3 months tomorrow, I guess. But she is like full on, like grabbing. Like when I get at something, she's like,
She already knows.
if I
My
put
God,
her
I,
down on
I
the
love that
bouncer,
face though. I
oh,
love
it's
that
so
face. I
cute.
love the
It's
face
so
when they
cute.
look at your food, like they're
Yeah.
way to look at food. That's the best thing. The best thing. Like you cannot have this, but I love the way you love food.
Yeah, no, it's the best phase. And also Alaska's entered into her picky age era. So all
Oh,
of a
okay.
sudden she's like, I don't want to eat that. And she's like,
Oh,
"Ugh." So like offer her to try something. She goes, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
ah. So yeah, I think my my rough moment this week has been overall, I feel like my relationship with my toddler is just taking a new dimension and it's asking for me to show up in a different way. And it's been challenging. It's been really challenging. And it's been really
Putting
hard
you to the
to,
test.
yeah, and it's been hard finding the grace for myself as well. Because I think a lot of it is, because I was talking to my psychologist about it and she's like, and, and, but it's really hard when you've been accommodating to someone for so long to then have to accommodate less for that person, give less to that person, teach her all these lessons, and on the same, like at the same time, also like deal with all this new energy and all these new things and so much less patience. And I'm like, she's going through so much, and I can't even
You
get
don't have
myself to
the
like,
yeah,
yeah. So, that's been rough, but I think it's also part of this season of transitioning into
yeah.
two kids. So
I mean, it's been 3 months.
it
Like
can only
that
get
is
better. Yeah,
no time. That is no
exactly. It's
time. Like
nothing.
you've
Yeah.
had no time to, like that. There's still so much. Both of you, like Alaska's gonna go through. You're gonna go through. It's just this. A lot
Yeah.
going on. It's normal, and it's normal to feel guilty as well. I think it's part of it. Like
Yeah.
it
I
means
think,
when they say you means that you care. Not what I mean. It's more like
right. But
it
I know
just
what
means
you
that
mean.
you're learning to navigate this
It's
new
part of the healing
feelings
as
and
well. Like I think when you get the guilt, then you can discern it and just be like, well, this is healthy guilt or not healthy guilt, or like, okay, this guilt is useful to realize X, Y, and Z, but now we're gonna move on, right? That's a
yeah,
healthy kind of
exactly,
guilt
exactly,
because it showcases
exactly.
where you care, and that's totally fine. It's just as long as you're not sitting there like, letting it
Yeah,
consume you.
yeah, yeah.
And I think that's been my lesson for this past week. There's been a lot of reminders that there are different seasons, and it's okay if this season some areas of your life are shining and the other ones are in the dark. Like it's just literally the ebb and flow of living. Like you're never gonna have everything be on a golden platter with shiny star and rainbows and celebrations. Like when something is up, something else might not be as up or might be straight up just down. You know what I mean? It is what it
Yeah,
is. And I think it's totally human to learn to identify those areas, both the good and the bad, and acknowledge that it's just part of living. I think we get so consumed when something doesn't go the way that we want, and we think we're just failing at everything and like, the world is falling
yeah.
apart. And it's like, it's okay that everything is not, rainbows and butterflies every single day of your life. That's the whole point of living, literally. So
I feel
we're
like
good.
that's also ingrained from what we've learned from growing up, though. Like I don't know, like we grow up with not being able to deal with our feelings, like big girls don't cry, and I think
Yeah.
that is what we do now. Is like every time we fail or every time something goes wrong, we don't know how to handle this because we've never actually handled any of it
Exactly.
before. We were told to stop
Exactly.
crying and grow up, and now we've grown up, and now how the fuck do we deal with it? My question.
Well, that is a question for another episode because I don't think you have the time for answering that here. But thank you so
But
much
if
for
anyone knows,
listening.
please let me know in the
Yes,
comments
please,
because
please let us know in the comments, message us. You can find us on Instagram at Who Let the Moms Out that pod. We'd love to hear from you. And we will see you next week. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe if you like more honest mom conversations. We have a ton of those.
thank you. Bye
Bye.
bye.